Beloved listener, draw near with the ear of your heart, for this moment is not an accident, and this voice is not a coincidence. There is a quiet law moving beneath all things, a law as gentle as breath and as exact as mathematics, and it responds not to force but to recognition. When you listen with expectancy, you invite alignment, and when alignment arrives, substance follows as naturally as shadow follows form. I ask you for no strain, no effort, no pleading, only 10 minutes of relaxed attention, for attention is the doorway through which abundance steps into visibility. The universe does not respond to worry, it responds to certainty. It does not argue with your fears, it echoes your convictions. Therefore, in these moments, let your mind grow still enough to hear what has always been speaking on your behalf. There is a divine intelligence that delights in supply, that knows no lack, and that has never failed to keep its appointments. This intelligence is not far away, not locked in some distant heaven, but is woven into your very awareness. It knows your name, it knows your needs before you name them, and it knows the shortest route by which blessing may arrive without struggle. Many have been taught to believe that money is reluctant, that it must be chased, conquered, or outwitted, yet money is only a symbol, a signpost pointing to agreement or disagreement with the inner law. When agreement is restored, the symbol rearranges itself with surprising speed. I have seen debts dissolve, accounts swell, and unexpected channels open simply because a person ceased resisting their own good. Now listen carefully, not with the ears alone, but with that deeper sense that feels truth before it explains it. You are not here to convince the universe of your worth. Your worth was never in question. You are here to accept what was already assigned to you before you ever worried about how it would come. The unseen works faster than the seen, and when you release the need to supervise every detail, you allow the unseen to do its perfect work. This is not magic, it is law. Just as the seed knows how to become a tree without instruction, your good knows how to reach you without anxiety. In this listening, let every anxious thought soften and fall away like old leaves. Say inwardly, with calm authority, that you are aligned with inexhaustible supply, that right action and right compensation are meeting now, and that divine order is restoring balance in every account. These are not hopeful wishes, they are acknowledgments. Words spoken in recognition carry a different power than words spoken in desperation. Recognition activates. Desperation delays. Therefore, speak only what you are willing to experience as fact. You may feel a gentle warmth, a subtle certainty, or simply a quiet ease. Do not analyze it. Analysis interrupts reception. The mind that tries to measure the river never drinks from it. Instead, allow a sense of expectancy without tension, like waiting for a dear friend you know will arrive because they always do. This expectancy is telepathic. It sends a clear signal to the invisible field, and the field rearranges circumstances, conversations, impulses, and opportunities in response. Someone thinks of you at the right moment. An idea surfaces that feels obvious in hindsight. A delay reveals itself as protection. These are not coincidences, they are responses. As you continue to listen, let yourself feel the relief of already being supported. Feel it in the body, in the breath, in the shoulders dropping. When the body relaxes, it is agreeing with safety, and safety is fertile ground for prosperity. The universe does not rush into clenched hands, it flows into open ones. You may notice thoughts attempting to argue, reminding you of past disappointments or current numbers. Thank them and let them pass. They are echoes of an old agreement that is no longer binding. A new agreement is forming now, one based on trust rather than proof. Remember this, proof always follows alignment, it never precedes it. Those who demand evidence before believing remain stuck in yesterday's conditions, while those who align first step into tomorrow's supply. There is a beautiful audacity in quiet faith, a strength that does not shout. This strength moves mountains without announcing itself. In this strength, you are allowing the law to complete its circuit. Thought, word, feeling, and expectation are coming into harmony, and harmony produces results as surely as discord produces delay. In a short while, you will return to your day, and at some point you will look at numbers on a screen or paper. When you do not look with shock or suspicion, look with recognition. Say inwardly, of course, this is how it works. Whether the change is immediate or unfolding through a series of right events, know that the movement has already begun. Once the order is placed in consciousness, it cannot be cancelled by doubt unless you insist upon it. Refuse to insist. Choose instead to remain receptive, grateful in advance, and quietly amused by the elegance of the law. This listening is not something you do once and forget. It is a posture you can return to whenever the world grows loud. Each time you choose it, you strengthen the channel. Each time you trust it, you widen the path. Abundance is not persuaded by effort, it is attracted by alignment. Stay aligned now, stay open now. Let the unseen finish what it has already begun. And as you remain in this listening, something subtle yet powerful begins to happen beneath the surface of awareness. Old agreements loosen their grip, like knots dissolving in warm water. You may not remember when you first accepted the belief that provision must be difficult, delayed, or earned through exhaustion. Yet beliefs do not require memory to be released. They only require replacement. The moment a higher truth is accepted, the former belief quietly exits, having no authority left to defend itself. Truth needs no defense. It simply stands, and the false falls away. There is an inner atmosphere that precedes every visible outcome, and that atmosphere is created by expectancy. Expectancy is not hope stretched thin. It is calm anticipation rooted in knowing. When expectancy is present, life rearranges itself to match it, just as rooms are prepared before honored guests arrive. Doors open that were never locked. Pathways appear that were always there but unseen, and resources move toward you because you are no longer pushing them away with doubt or fear. Resistance repels, allowance attracts. You are learning now to allow. Notice how the idea of supply begins to feel less dramatic, less charged. This is important. Drama belongs to fear, not to faith. True power is serene. When abundance feels normal, it arrives naturally. When it feels extraordinary, it remains distant. Therefore, normalize your good. Speak of it inwardly as a matter of course. Let the mind grow accustomed to ease, to sufficiency, to surplus without apology. The universe mirrors what you make familiar. There is a rhythm to right timing that cannot be rushed and need not be delayed. When you are in harmony with this rhythm, impatience fades, replaced by a quiet confidence that knows nothing is missing. Even what appears absent is merely on its way, moving through channels unseen. Money, opportunity, and support travel along lines of consciousness before they appear as transactions. Change the consciousness, and the lines reroute instantly. This is why a single realization can accomplish what years of effort could not. As you listen, imagine every word sinking gently into a receptive soil. There is no need to force understanding. Understanding follows acceptance, not the other way around. Allow the feeling of being backed by something vast and benevolent, something that takes pleasure in fulfilling you. You are not imposing your will upon life, you are cooperating with its generous design. Life is not stingy. It is precise, responsive and unfailingly just to the images held within. If thoughts of unworthiness arise, see them for what they are, habits of thought, not statements of fact. Worthiness is not a condition to be met, it is a condition to be remembered. You were born into entitlement, not entitlement of arrogance, but entitlement of belonging. You belong to abundance as surely as the wave belongs to the ocean. The wave does not beg the ocean for water, it expresses what the ocean already is. In the same way, your prosperity is an expression, not a request. There is a telepathic quality to belief that cannot be overstated. What you consistently assume communicates itself to the greater field without words, without effort. The field responds by orchestrating circumstances that make your assumption appear logical. This is why sudden windfalls feel lucky to some and inevitable to others. Luck is merely law misunderstood. Inevitability is law recognized. Choose recognition now, and let inevitability take its place. You may sense a gentle rampage of well-being building, not loud or frantic, but steady and sure. This rampage does not shout affirmations, it rests in certainty. It knows that every legitimate need is met through legitimate means, and that no good is ever withheld, only deferred until acceptance is complete. Acceptance is completing itself now. Feel how the mind grows quieter, less argumentative. This quiet is not emptiness, it is readiness. In this readiness, impulses will come that feel light, simple, and unforced. Follow them without overthinking. Right action arises naturally from right alignment. You do not need to hunt for opportunity. Opportunity recognizes you when your inner signal is clear. When confusion fades, Riddhi steps forward. When fear releases, guidance speaks. Guidance has always been speaking, but fear was louder. Now the volume has shifted. Let there be a deep inward smile, not because something has already appeared, but because something is already arranged. Arrangement precedes arrival. The unseen is efficient beyond human comprehension. It wastes no motion, misses no detail, and forgets no promise. When you trust it, you free it to act swiftly. When you doubt it, you slow the process by insisting on supervision. Step back now. Let intelligence do what intelligence does best. Carry this listening with you as an undercurrent, even as you move and speak and act. It does not require constant attention. It requires consistency of tone. Keep the tone gentle, assured, and receptive. Let your words, when you speak of money or work or supply, be free of complaint. Complaint contradicts acceptance. Gratitude, even quiet gratitude, confirms it. Choose confirmation now, again and again, without effort. The world responds not to what you say you want, but to what you expect to experience. Expect generously. Expect intelligently. Expect without anxiety. In doing so, you align with the deepest generosity of life itself, and life delights in proving you right. And in this steady expectancy, you may notice that time itself seems to soften. Urgency dissolves, and with it the subtle message that something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. Delay has never meant denial. It has only meant prepara. Often the unseen is arranging far more than you imagined, aligning not only money but peace, not only provision but position, so that when the gift arrives it fits without friction. Gifts that arrive too early feel heavy. Gifts that arrive in order feel effortless. Trust the order. There is a refinement taking place now, a gentle recalibration of self-concept. Prosperity does not respond to need as strongly as it responds to identity. When you see yourself as one through whom good flows easily, it must flow easily to remain consistent with that image. Identity is the mold, experience is the casting. Change the mold, and the form changes without struggle. This is why inner work outpaces outer effort every time. You are not asked to ignore practical matters, only to remove fear from them. Fear distorts perception and creates resistance where none is required. When fear is absent, even practical steps feel guided, efficient, and surprisingly effective. A conversation goes better than expected. A decision feels clear instead of confusing. An expense resolves itself. These small confirmations accumulate, building confidence not in luck, but in law. As you continue listening, let the idea of being supported become intimate, personal, unquestionable. Support is not an abstract concept. It is active, responsive, and immediate. It operates through people, ideas, timing, and circumstance. Yet it is not dependent on any single channel. If one channel closes, another opens with UTD. The source is infinite. Channels are merely expressions. Never fear the closing of a channel when you are connected to the source. There is a profound relief in realizing you do not have to make things happen. You only have to allow what is already inclined toward you. Inclination is the universe's preference made visible. The universe prefers balance, fulfillment, and expression. When you align with these preferences, you move with the current instead of against it. Moving with the current feels like ease, and ease is the hallmark of right direction. Notice how your breath deepens as resistance fades. Breath is agreement with life. Shallow breath accompanies fear. Full breath accompanies trust. Each full breath is a silent affirmation that you are safe, provided for, and guided. You do not need to repeat affirmations mechanically. Your state is the affirmation. The body believes what the mind allows. Allow peace, and the body confirms it. There may come a moment when the mind attempts to test this calm, presenting hypothetical problems or future worries. Do not engage them. Hypotheticals are shadows without substance. Return gently to the knowing that what you need to know will be known when it is needed, and what you need to have will arrive when it can be received with ease. This is wisdom, not avoidance. Wisdom knows the difference. You are learning to live from a place of assumption rather than reaction. Reaction responds to appearances. Assumption shapes tea. Assume harmony and circumstances adjust. Assume abundance and supply reorganizes. Assumption is creative when it is relaxed and confident. Tension signals disbelief. Relaxation signals faith. Faith is not blind, it is perceptive. It sees the invisible scaffolding holding everything in place. As this perception stabilizes, you may feel a natural generosity arise, not forced, not performative, but effortless. Generosity is evidence of internal abundance. When you feel rich inwardly, sharing feels natural. This does not mean reckless giving, it means an open-hearted stance toward life. An open heart is magnetic. Life moves toward it eagerly. Let your listening deepen into a quiet joy, the joy of knowing that you are not late, not behind, not excluded. You are precisely where adjustment can occur most efficiently. This moment is powerful because it is receptive. Reception is the final step in every manifestation, and you are practicing it now without strain. Carry this sense of ease forward, letting it inform your expectations, your tone, your posture, your decisions. Let it be subtle, natural, and consistent. The law responds best to consistency. One moment of alignment is powerful. Sustained alignment is transformative. You are not trying to hold a feeling, you are allowing a truth to hold you. And as this truth settles more deeply, life continues its quiet rearrangement, unseen yet certain, preparing expressions that match your new agreement, with good, moving pieces into place with precision and grace, responding faithfully to the calm authority of your acceptance, continuing to unfold in perfect order as long as you remain willing to receive. And in this unfolding, you begin to notice that the outer world seems less intimidating, as though it has lost its power to argue with your inner state. Circumstances no longer dictate your mood begins to influence circumstances. This reversal is subtle yet decisive. It is the moment when you step out of reaction and into authorship. Life reads the tone you hold and responds accordingly, not because it is persuaded, but because it is obedient to the law of correspondence. You may sense that certain old patterns are losing energy, habits of thought that once felt automatic now appearing optional. This is a sign of mastery, not effort. Mastery does not fight habits, it outgrows them. When the mind is fed with a higher assumption, the lower assumption starves naturally. There is no struggle in this process, only a gentle replacement, like light entering a room and darkness leaving without protest. Allow yourself to feel the dignity of being a conscious participant in this exchange with life. You are not pleading with fate, you are conversing with intelligence. Every thought you entertain is part of that conversation. Choose thoughts that speak of confidence, continuity, and calm expectation. These are not positive thoughts for the sake of optimism. They are accurate thoughts aligned with how the universe actually functions. There is an elegance to this law that becomes more apparent the less you interfere. It delights in symmetry, in fair exchange, in outcomes that feel just rather than dramatic. When money arrives through this alignment, it often carries with it a sense of rightness, as though it always belonged there. There is no shock, no guilt, no urge to explain or defend it. It fits seamlessly into your life because your consciousness made room for it long before it appeared. In this space, you are no longer measuring your worth by effort or hours or sacrifice. You begin to understand that compensation is tied to value expressed, not energy depleted. Value flows most freely when expression is joyful, inspired, and unforced. This is why alignment often precedes opportunities that feel surprisingly aligned with your nature. You are not bending yourself to fit supply. Supply is meeting you where you are most authentic. Let this understanding settle without analysis. Analysis fragments what alignment unifies. Trust the simplicity of it. Simplicity is the signature of truth. Complexity belongs to fear trying to maintain control. Release control now, not as an act of surrender to chaos, but as an act of trust in order. Order is already established, you are simply stepping into it. As the inner atmosphere continues to clarify, you may feel less compelled to speak about your plans or worries. Silence becomes comfortable, not because there is nothing happening, but because so much is happening beneath the surface. Silence is gestation. It is the space in which ideas mature and outcomes ripen. Honor it. There is power in quiet confidence that needs no witness. Notice also how your relationship with numbers begins to soften. Numbers lose their emotional charge and become information rather than verdicts. This neutrality is powerful. When numbers no longer threaten, they become flexible. Flexibility invites movement. Movement invites increase. Emotional neutrality is often the bridge between stagnation and flow. You are cultivating a trust that does not depend on constant reassurance. This trust is self-renewing. Each small confirmation strengthens it, and each moment of calm reinforces it. Soon, calm becomes your default state rather than an exception. From this state, decisions are clearer, timing is better, and outcomes align more consistently with your intentions. There is also a refinement in how you perceive desire. Desire is no longer a restless wanting. It becomes a quiet recognition of what is meant to be expressed through you. This recognition carries authority without force. When desire is aligned with purpose, fulfillment follows naturally. You do not chase it, you cooperate with it. Remain in this listening posture, even as thoughts come and go. You are not required to stop thinking, only to stop believing every thought. Choose the thoughts that support expansion, and let the rest pass like background noise. Attentio. N is selective by nature. Select wisely. Life continues to respond with increasing precision as your signal stabilizes. Precision does not always look dramatic. Often it looks ordinary, yet effective. Bills are paid with ease. Resources appear when needed. Conversations unfold smoothly. These are the true miracles of alignment, steady and reliable. And so the current carries you forward, not with urgency but with certainty, not with spectacle but with consistency, as the invisible mechanisms of support continue their work, adjusting, aligning, and delivering in response to the quiet, unwavering tone you hold, moving forward in uninterrupted harmony, unfolding moment by moment, without the need for emphasis or finality, simply continuing as law expressed through awareness. There is a deepening now, a sense that this way of being is not something you are doing, but something you are remembering. It feels familiar because it is original. Before the mind learned to divide life into safe and unsafe, before it learned to negotiate worthiness, there was this natural confidence in being carried, this unquestioned expectation that needs would be met as they arose. You are returning to that simplicity, not by going backward, but by moving beyond what was learned and no longer serves. In this remembering, effort takes on a different quality. Action still occurs, yet it is free of strain. You may notice that when action is required, it presents itself clearly and without pressure. There is no frantic searching for the next step. The next step announces itself, often in a way that feels almost obvious. This is the hallmark of alignment, clarity without force. When the path is clear, walking it feels light. The mind may try to label this ease as complacency, but it is not. It is confidence. Complacency is passive and dull. Confidence is alive and alert. Confidence listens. It responds. It moves when moved from within rather than pushed from without. In this state, you are not waiting for life to begin. You are participating in it with trust. As the sense of being supported stabilizes, you may find yourself less impressed by appearances that once intimidated you. Large numbers no longer feel overwhelming, and small numbers no longer feel discouraging. They are simply indicators, snapshots in a moving picture. When you know the picture is in motion, you do not panic at a single frame. you allow the sequence to complete. There is also a refinement in how you relate to others. Comparison loses its appeal. Another's success no longer threatens your own. It confirms the availability of good. Celebration replaces competition. When you rejoice in another's increase, you signal your agreement with increase itself. Agreement amplifies. Resistance diminishes. This is not moral instruction, it is practical alignment. You may notice that words like hard, struggle, and barely begin to feel foreign in your inner language. Language shapes perception. When the lingua of strain fades, the experience of strain follows. Replace it gently with words of flow, sufficiency, and right timing, not as slogans, but as accurate descriptions of your inner state. Accuracy carries power. There is an intelligence coordinating details you could never manage consciously. It remembers conversations you forgot, aligns schedules you never saw, and brings together people whose paths were always meant to cross. When you stop insisting on seeing the whole plan, you allow the whole plan to function. Trust does not need a map, it needs direction, and the direction is already set toward harmony. Feel how your sense of self expands slightly beyond the personal story. You are still yourself, yet you are also an instrument through which something larger expresses order and generosity. This does not diminish you, it dignifies you. When you allow yourself to be an avenue rather than an island, supply flows more freely because it has somewhere to go. In this state, patience is effortless. You are not waiting, you are witnessing. Witnessing carries curiosity instead of tension. Curiosity keeps the heart open. An open heart remains receptive, and receptivity is the final key. You cannot receive with clenched expectations, but you receive naturally with open awareness. If moments arise where doubt flickers, do not dramatize them. Doubt is simply a habit checking to see if it is still needed. Greet it kindly, and return to the knowing that has already proven itself in subtle ways. Subtlety precedes certainty. Each quiet confirmation builds a foundation stronger than any dramatic promise. Life continues to meet you at the level of your calm assurance. The more ordinary this assurance feels, the more extraordinary the results become. This is the paradox the mind eventually learns to accept. What feels natural manifests quickly. What feels forced resists. Remain here inwardly, even as the outer day unfolds. Let this tone be the background music of your thoughts, steady and reassuring. You are not holding it together, it is holding you. And in this holding, the flow continues uninterrupted, adjusting, responding, expanding, carrying forward the unspoken agreement between your awareness and the intelligence that animates all things, moving seamlessly onward without pause or punctuation, simply continuing to express itself through your openness. And as this openness becomes more familiar, you may notice that even your memories begin to soften. Past experiences that once felt heavy lose their emotional charge, as though they are being refiled under a new understanding. You see now that many delays were protections, many disappointments were redirections, and many endings were invitations to something that required more space than you previously had. This reframing is not denial, it is integration. When experience is integrated, it no longer obstructs the present. There is a quiet authority growing within you, an authority that does not demand attention but commands respect from the invisible forces that arrange outcomes. Authority is not loud. It does not argue or justify itself. It simply assumes its place and expects cooperation. When you assume cooperation from life, cooperation follows. Expectation is a powerful instruction, and life is exquisitely responsive to instruction that is free of doubt. You may find that your intuition becomes sharper, not dramatic, but precise. It guides you away from unnecessary detours and towards simple, effective choices. Intuition thrives in calm environments. When the inner climate is peaceful, guidance is clear. When the inner climate is stormy, guidance is drowned out by noise. You are cultivating a climate that allows wisdom to speak in its natural tone. This wisdom does not rush you. It understands timing better than impatience ever could. Timing is not about waiting long enough. It is about being ready enough. Readiness is an inner condition, and you are developing it now through trust rather than tension. When readiness is complete, movement happens swiftly. often more swiftly than the mind expected. Sudden shifts are simply the visible result of invisible preparation. Notice how your relationship with desire continues to refine. Desire no longer feels like lack reaching outward. It feels like alignment recognizing itself. This kind of desire is calm, focused, and confident. It does not beg or bargain. It assumes fulfillment as a natural outcome. Assumption is creative. When it is quiet and consistent, you are practicing that consistency now without effort. There is also a gentleness emerging in how you treat yourself. Harsh self-judgment dissolves when you recognize that growth is not linear, and perfection was never required. Compassion creates space. Space allows expansion. Expansion invites abundance. This sequence is reliable. Whenever compassion increases, resistance decreases, and life responds immediately to reduced resistance. As resistance fades, you may feel a lightness in ordinary moments, a sense that even routine activities carry less weight. This lightness is not distraction, it is presence. Presence allows you to meet each moment without dragging the past or projecting the future. In presence, the mind is efficient, and efficiency attracts results. Scattered attention scatters outcomes. Focused ease gathers them. You are beginning to understand that wealth is not something added to life. It is a quality of life expressed through form. When life feels rich inwardly, it expresses richness outwardly. When life feels constricted inwardly, it expresses limitation outwardly. You are tending the inner quality now, and the outer expression must follow according to law. There may be moments when gratitude arises spontaneously, without a specific object. This kind of gratitude is especially potent because it is not conditional. It signals satisfaction with the process itself. Satisfaction accelerates manifestation because it removes the suggestion of lack. Lack slows. Satisfaction speeds. This is not about settling, it is about trusting the trajectory. The mind grows quieter still, not because it has nothing to do, but because it trusts what is being done beyond its supervision. Trust is the highest form of intelligence. It recognizes competence where control once insisted. As trust deepens, you may notice fewer mental rehearsals, fewer contingency plans, fewer imagined obstacles. Planning becomes simpler because the need to defend against uncertainty diminishes. In this simplicity, you are more available to inspiration. Inspiration does not shout. It arrives as a gentle nudge, a sudden clarity, a subtle interest. Follow it lightly. Heavy seriousness blocks inspiration. Playfulness invites it. Life responds beautifully to those who move with curiosity rather than fear. The sense of flow becomes your reference point. When something feels forced, you pause. When something feels aligned, you proceed. This discernment grows more reliable with practice. It saves time, energy, and emotional expense. Efficiency is a byproduct of alignment, not effort. And so the listening continues beneath your thoughts, beneath your movements, beneath the visible arrangements of your day, holding everything in a quiet coherence. The law remains active, attentive, and precise, responding to your tone rather than your words, your state rather than your strategies. Carrying forward the agreement you have entered into through calm acceptance, allowing the current to move without interruption, without commentary, without final declaration, simply continuing its ordered expression through your awareness and experience, unfolding onward in the same seamless rhythm.